Welcome back. In this fourth section of Module 1, we will be discussing the texts that are used in the Focus on Pre-K units of study. Here are the texts that are used in Unit 1. What do you notice? There are 5 core texts for each unit. While Brown Bear and Corduroy are both about bears who go on a walk, Corduroy, as are all Focus on Pre-K core texts, is chosen for sophisticated language and vocabulary, complex characters, and interesting plots. Could you still have Brown Bear in your classroom? Absolutely. Like most preschool curricula, Focus on Pre-K is organized in thematic units. In most preschool curricula, what children typically learn about a theme is shallow. For example, in a family unit, children are expected to learn that a family is a father, mother, sister, and brother. In Focus on Pre-K, what children learn about a theme is more sophisticated and requires higher order thinking, and is detailed in each unit's enduring understandings. Instead of learning that a family is a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister, children learn that a family is a group of people that care for and support each other. The unit's essential questions, such as "What does it mean to be a member of a family?" help children think conceptually. In Focus, there are multiple reads of each core text. Multiple reads does not mean the text is repeated. Rather, children encounter the text 4 different times with a distinct purpose for each read. Let's take a look at the 4 reads. The first read is called the orientation read, and it is the only time that the book is read in its entirety from cover to cover. The purpose of this read is to introduce an unfamiliar text. Because the text is new to the children, it should be read fluently, meaning with minimal interruption. Bunny trails should be minimized because research shows that children think these digressions are part of the story. Key vocabulary is highlighted quickly. Instead of asking children, "What do you think this word means?" give a brief definition using gestures and the vocabulary picture cards that are included in the curriculum. The second read is referred to as the reconstruction read. The purpose of this read is for children to retell and demonstrate comprehension of the story using key vocabulary. Ground children in the story by reading the author, illustrator, title, and 2 to 3 of the first few pages. For the rest of the read, turn to places in the text where children can consider significant events and describe the characters' motivations, emotions, and behaviors. The third read is called the chime-in. As in the second read, ground children in the story by reading the author, illustrator, title, and 2 to 3 of the first pages. The purpose of this read is for children to pay attention to words and word phrases. Again, the text is not to be read cover to cover during the third read. Similar to the second read, choose 4 to 5 places for the children to analyze the text. For example, in Peter's chair, you could stop on one of the pages and ask children to fill in the sentence, "He blank the blocks." Children fill in or chime in the missing word or phrase. Scaffold appropriately by providing the first letter or letter sound as a clue. If children chime in incorrectly, respond with, "Well, yes, but the author wrote this letter here, so a word that makes sense is blank." Give them as Many or as few hints as necessary to arrive at the answer. The fourth read is called the acting out read. The purpose of this read is for children to synthesize vocabulary and comprehension. Again, instead of reading the text cover to cover, you will choose 2 to 3 scenes from the text for children to act out as the characters. It is recommended that you have groups of children act out the different characters, rather than a single child. For example, 3 children could play the part of Peter's mother. This way, multiple children get an opportunity to act out the story, and it also gives you insight as to where different children are in understanding the vocabulary and comprehending the story. Each of the 4 reads is staggered throughout the week. As you can see in this weekly plan, the first read of Unga Bunga is on day 1, the first read of Peter's Chair is on day 2, the second read of Unga Bunga is on day 3, and the second read of Peter's Chair is on day 4. In between reads, children use the key vocabulary and explore concepts from the read-alouds in centers, small groups, and in the component Let's Find Out About It. The learning experiences between reads allows children to come to each subsequent read with more understanding so that they can achieve the goals of each read. For example, after the first read of Peter's Chair, children build towers and blocks just like Peter does in the beginning of the story. When you facilitate centers, you use vocabulary words such as stable or topple as the children build. This way, when children come to the second read 2 days later, they will have had an experience similar to Peter's that they can think about when they describe why the noise from toppling his tower would wake up Peter's baby sister Susie. When they chime in on the third read, they will be familiar with the word topple to fill in, and in the fourth read, they will know how to act out Peter's dog Willie toppling the tower. Stop and think about what instructional practices and guiding principles from Focus on Pre-K this reflects. This progression addresses 3 crucial literacy skills: vocabulary development, comprehension, and interest or engagement. Children's interest and engagement moves from passive in the first read, where the teacher reads an unfamiliar story to them, to active in the fourth read, where the children act out the story themselves. Children's comprehension in the first read is literal. The discussion questions that follow are more concrete. Who is in Peter's family? In the subsequent reads, the discussion questions are more inferential. Why does Peter feel this way? Key vocabulary moves from receptive in the first read, with the teacher defining the words, to the fourth read, where vocabulary is expressive as children act out the definitions. Now, take notes as you watch the read aloud videos. Notice guiding principles and instructional practices that apply. Don't forget to complete the check for understanding for this section.